The signal awakens. In the year 2487, humanity had reached the edge of the known universe, yet the stars still held secrets far beyond their understanding. At the Orion Deep Space Station, orbiting a quiet planet in a distant solar system, Dr. Lena Carter stared at the flickering screen in disbelief. Her fingers hovered over the console as strange signals pulsed across the monitors. Signals that did not belong to any known star or nearby civilization. The team had been monitoring deep space communications for decades, but this was different. This signal carried a rhythm, a pattern, almost like a heartbeat, and it was coming from 80,000 light-years away, from a galaxy that humans had barely observed. Its origin had been lost to time, forgotten for thousands of generations, yet here it was, speaking across the vast emptiness of space. "Dr. Carter, are you seeing this?" asked Rajiv, the station's communications officer, his voice tight with excitement and fear. The entire room was silent except for the soft hum of machines. The signal repeated, faster this time, its strange pulses almost forming words, but not in any human language. Dr. Carter leaned closer, trying to decode the mysterious rhythm. "This is not random noise," she whispered. "It's a message. Someone, or something, is trying to communicate with us." Her heart raced as she realized the magnitude of the moment. For the first time in human history, a civilization across the galaxy had reached out. After 80,000 years, the silence was broken. Outside the station's windows, the stars stretched infinitely, cold and distant, yet now they seemed alive, filled with possibilities and danger. The team worked tirelessly, feeding the signal into advanced decoding programs, hoping to make sense of the unknown language. Every new pattern raised more questions than answers. The signal contained symbols that shifted like water, and energy pulses that seemed to resonate with human emotions. "Why now?" Lena muttered, rubbing her eyes. "Why after so many thousands of years? Why are they reaching us now?" No one had an answer, and yet, a mixture of fear and excitement filled the room. For some, it was awe, a moment of history in the making. For others, it was terror, imagining what lay at the other end of this ancient call. The station commander, Admiral Hayes, entered the control room, his expression grim. "Dr. Carter, what are we dealing with?" he asked. The team hesitated, unsure how to explain the strange, living nature of the signal. Finally, Lena spoke. "It's a message, sir, and it is intelligent. Someone, somewhere, wants us to hear them." Admiral Hayes nodded slowly, understanding the weight of her words. "Prepare a report for Earth Command immediately. We need to alert the world." Outside, humanity had grown used to sending messages into space, hoping for a reply, but this was different. This was the first time the galaxy had reached back, not as noise, not as static, but as a living, pulsating call. As the team continued decoding, small lights flickered along the station's walls, unusual auroras that matched the signal's rhythm. Some scientists whispered that the station itself was responding. The energy seemed to hum through the metal and circuits, as if the ship was alive, or connected to something far greater than human understanding. Hours turned into days, and still, the signal pulsed relentlessly. It was a constant reminder that humanity was not alone, that across the galaxy, someone had remembered them. Despite the vastness of time and space, the signal had waited, silent, hidden, forgotten for 80,000 years, and yet now it demanded attention. Dr. Carter's mind raced with questions. Is it a warning? A greeting? Or a challenge? The patterns grew more complex, almost as if testing the team. Each decoding attempt revealed new layers, new surprises. It became clear that whoever, or whatever, had sent the signal, had left a puzzle meant to be solved by humans. Outside the station, the distant galaxy seemed to shimmer, mysterious and almost alive. The stars blinked as if acknowledging the first human eyes that had truly noticed them. The team could feel the weight of history pressing down. This was not a casual encounter. This was a turning point for humanity, a moment that would define its future among the stars. As night fell over Earth far below, billions of people slept unaware that their species had finally been noticed, that the galaxy itself had reached across time and space to touch them. But on the Orion station, Dr. Lena Carter and her team were wide awake, staring at the flickering signal, knowing that everything had just changed. The signal had awakened, and with it, the fate of humanity was about to enter a new and uncertain chapter. And somewhere, in the distant reaches of space, a presence waited patiently, watching, sending, and hoping that humanity was ready to listen. Humanity responds. The signal had awakened humanity's curiosity, and now the world held its breath. Across Earth, news of the message spread like wildfire. Governments, scientists, and citizens watched as the Orion Deep Space Station worked tirelessly, trying to understand the mysterious call from 80,000 light-years away. The planet was united by both wonder and fear, as people debated what this ancient message could mean. At the United Nations, leaders gathered to discuss a response. Their faces were tense, voices low and urgent. Some argued that humanity should respond immediately, showing intelligence, courage, and a willingness to communicate with whatever had sent the signal. Others warned that answering could be dangerous, that the beings on the other side might see humanity as weak or unprepared, and take advantage. Dr. Lena Carter stood before the council via live transmission. Her calm, determined voice filled the chamber. "We have a choice," she said. "We can ignore this, and continue living in the dark, or we can answer. For the first time, we know we are not alone. This is our chance to prove who we are." Some leaders nodded, impressed by her words, while others hesitated, afraid of the unknown. Meanwhile, back at the Orion station, preparations for a response were underway. The team worked day and night, crafting a message simple enough to be understood, yet meaningful enough to show humanity's intelligence. The broadcast included mathematics, patterns of light, sounds of Earth, and images of life on the planet. It was a signal of peace, curiosity, and hope. As the message launched into the void, the station's instruments recorded unusual readings. Energy pulses, auroras, and vibrations matched the signal's rhythm, almost as if the galaxy itself was listening. The team watched in awe as the patterns shifted, brighter and faster. The response was not just seen or heard, it was felt, deep in the metal of the station, in the hearts of every human on board. There was a connection. Across the world, people watched the skies for signs. Scientists and astronomers monitored satellites, telescopes, and sensors, hoping for a reply, hoping for proof that humanity had reached a larger family among the stars. Days passed, and then, finally, the reply came, not in words, but as a massive, ordered energy pulse that swept across the solar system. Cities lit with strange auroras. Satellites recorded unusual patterns in orbit. Humanity felt both joy and fear. Dr. Carter knew this was more than a simple reply. It was a test, a way for the beings on the other side to measure humanity. The energy pulses contained patterns, almost like questions, but in a language no human had ever seen. The entire planet now held its attention. Scientists debated, leaders strategized, and ordinary people dreamed, imagining what could be waiting in the galaxy for those who dared to answer. Fear and excitement mixed, tensions rose. Some humans panicked, thinking the pulses were a warning of danger. Others felt a deep, emotional connection, sensing that they were being watched with curiosity, that someone, somewhere, had been waiting for humanity to respond. The debate on Earth continued. Should they send more signals? Should humanity act boldly, or wait and observe? At the Orion station, Dr. Carter and her team analyzed every detail, searching for meaning in the patterns. Hours turned into nights, nights into days, and still, the energy pulses continued, always shifting, always testing. The team realized that the message was more than communication. It was a challenge, a puzzle designed to see if humans could think, cooperate, and act as one species. Outside the station, the distant galaxy shimmered, distant stars seeming brighter than before. The pulse of the reply echoed across space, connecting humanity with a presence older than Earth itself. Dr. Carter felt a mix of pride and fear. She understood that the future of humanity had begun at that moment, that every choice, every action, would now carry weight across the galaxy. Finally, she addressed her team, her voice steady but filled with awe. "We have answered," she said, "and now, we wait. They are listening. The galaxy is watching. Humanity has taken the first step, and there is no turning back." The crew nodded silently, knowing that their lives, and the lives of every human, had changed forever. As night fell over Earth, people gazed at the stars, unaware that their species had entered a new chapter, one in which humanity's intelligence, courage, and spirit would be measured by forces far greater than themselves. The signal had awoken something ancient, and humanity had responded, boldly, with hope, curiosity, and unity. And somewhere in the distant galaxy, the beings who had waited for 80,000 years watched, sensing that humanity had the courage to answer, and perhaps, the potential to join the community of civilizations among the stars. The galaxy was no longer silent, and humanity had finally spoken. The first contact. Weeks passed since humanity had sent its first message into the void, and still, the energy pulses from the distant galaxy continued. Dr. Lena Carter and her team at Orion Station had grown used to the strange rhythm, but nothing could have prepared them for what came next. It began as a faint blip on the long-range scanners, a movement in the space near Saturn. At first, everyone thought it was a natural phenomenon, an asteroid, or a comet, but the object moved with impossible precision, stopping, turning, and hovering as if it had a mind of its own. "Everyone, look at this," Rajiv whispered, pointing at the monitors. The room went silent as the shape became clearer. It was enormous, larger than any human-made spacecraft, glowing with soft light, almost as if it were made of living energy. It did not resemble any human design. No metal panels, no engines, no wings, just smooth curves of luminous material. Dr. Carter's heart raced. This is it, she breathed. The beings have arrived. The command room was filled with awe, fear, and excitement. The team prepared a shuttle for close observation, carefully planning every detail, knowing that this could be the first step into a larger universe for all humanity. As the shuttle approached, the glowing ship seemed to respond, pulsing in rhythm with the signals humans had sent. It was as if it recognized their presence and invited them closer. The team felt a strange warmth inside the shuttle, a hum of energy that made their hair tingle and hearts pound. When they entered the spacecraft, the interior was even more astonishing. The walls shimmered with symbols that shifted like liquid, flowing and moving as if alive. The floor glowed softly under their feet, and the air vibrated with a strange harmony. Rajiv reached out to touch a symbol, and it changed shape beneath his fingers, responding to his touch. Then, a figure appeared, made entirely of light, neither solid nor liquid. It radiated intelligence and awareness, yet it was not threatening. It spoke not in words, but in emotions, filling the minds of the humans with feelings of peace, curiosity, and longing. Dr. Carter felt a connection unlike anything she had ever known. The being communicated that the signal humanity had received was a call for help, long forgotten in the galaxy. It had waited for someone capable of understanding, someone brave enough to respond. The pulses, the riddles, and the challenges were all tests, a way to find out if humanity was ready for contact with civilizations far older and wiser than themselves. Back on Earth, the news caused a mixture of excitement and panic. Some people hailed it as the greatest discovery in human history, proof that humans were part of something bigger. Others feared that humanity was stepping into danger, opening doors that could not be closed. Governments debated whether to prepare defenses or continue communication. Meanwhile, on the spacecraft, the humans continued to interact with the being, learning through emotion and experience, not language. They felt joy, sadness, curiosity, and understanding flowing between them. The alien presence showed them visions of distant galaxies, civilizations that had risen and fallen, and the challenges that awaited intelligent life across the stars. Dr. Carter realized that this first contact was more than an encounter. It was an introduction, a way of teaching humanity about the galaxy. The being conveyed that humans were no longer alone, and that their actions would now be observed by entities far older than Earth itself. Fear began to creep in among the crew, as they considered the responsibility humanity now carried. Every decision, every message sent, would reflect on the entire species, and yet, there was wonder and hope. The universe was vast, dangerous, and beautiful, but it had reached out to humanity, inviting them to take their place. The shuttle returned to Orion Station, carrying stories and images that no human had ever witnessed. Dr. Carter knew that humanity had passed the first step of a long journey, but that many challenges still lay ahead. The galaxy had remembered them, tested them, and now, it was time for humans to prove themselves. That night, as Earth's citizens slept, satellites recorded unusual auroras in the skies, shimmering in rhythm with the pulses from the distant ship. Humanity had made contact, and the stars seemed alive in response. Somewhere across the 80,000 light-years, beings watched, waiting to see if humans could rise to the challenge. Dr. Carter looked at the stars, feeling a mixture of pride and awe. "We have been seen," she whispered, "and now we must show who we are." She knew this was only the beginning. The first contact had opened doors, but the path forward would test humanity's courage, intelligence, and spirit. the galaxy had sent its signal, and humanity had answered. But now, humanity would need to prove that it was worthy of joining the cosmic stage, and the challenges that awaited would be unlike anything they had imagined. The pulse of the distant ship continued, a heartbeat across the universe, reminding humans that they were no longer alone. And somewhere, in the depths of space, the being of light watched silently, waiting, patient, hopeful, and ready to see what humanity would do next. The Galactic Challenge. The galaxy had noticed humanity, but it was not enough to simply respond. The being of light made it clear that humans must prove themselves worthy. The signals now arrived not just as pulses, but as challenges, complex patterns, puzzles, and strange tasks designed to test every part of human nature. At Orion Station, Dr. Lena Carter and her team studied the latest transmission. Their monitors displayed sequences of light, energy waves, and mathematical symbols. The message was a puzzle, and every wrong answer seemed to cause subtle, unsettling changes in the station's environment. The lights flickered unpredictably, and a low hum filled the corridors, as if the station itself was alive, watching their progress. "This is more than just a test," Rajiv said, his voice tense. "It is measuring us, everything about us." The team worked tirelessly, solving mathematical problems, decoding energy patterns, and attempting to understand the strange logic of the galaxy. Every success brought a sense of hope, every failure added tension and fear. Outside Earth, the world followed every development with bated breath. News channels and social media streamed updates from the Orion station. Some humans cheered for progress, while others feared that one mistake could bring disaster. Humanity realized that this was not a game, but a serious trial. Observers from distant civilizations, older and more advanced than humans, were judging every move. The first challenge tested intelligence, and the team worked together, combining knowledge, intuition, and creativity. They solved the puzzle using mathematics, geometry, and patterns of sound, and when they sent their solution, the alien pulse responded with approval, sending waves of energy that lit up the station and filled the team with relief and pride. The second challenge tested morality. The beings of the galaxy projected scenarios of ethical dilemmas, choices where no solution was perfect. Humans had to decide between self-interest and the greater good. Dr. Carter knew this would not be easy. Every choice carried consequences, and they had to show empathy, wisdom, and courage. The team debated and argued, but eventually, they made decisions reflecting unity and compassion, and the galaxy seemed to approve. The third challenge tested cooperation. The signals required the station team to work not just with each other, but with Earth itself. Scientists, engineers, and leaders across the planet coordinated their efforts to solve massive, time-sensitive problems. Humanity began to feel the weight of responsibility, realizing that this trial measured not only intelligence, but the ability to act as one species, united. Even with progress, tension rose. There were moments of doubt, frustration, and fear. Some mistakes caused minor disruptions, strange energy surges, and alarms in the station. Dr. Carter remained calm, understanding that the galaxy's test was as much about patience and resilience as it was about skill. "We cannot give up," she reminded her team. "We are showing them what humanity can do, even when things go wrong." The challenges continued for weeks, each one more difficult than the last. Humans faced tests of logic, creativity, ethics, and courage, and the being of light observed silently, sometimes responding with waves of energy, sometimes remaining quiet, leaving humans to struggle and learn on their own. Slowly, humanity began to understand that this was not just a test, but a lesson. The galaxy wanted humans to see the consequences of their choices, to learn teamwork, patience, and humility. Every decision, every solution, was shaping not only the perception of humanity but also its future among the stars. At Orion Station, the team felt both exhaustion and exhilaration. They were aware that billions of eyes on Earth were watching, and every action carried weight. Yet through this pressure, humans showed ingenuity, courage, and spirit, qualities that even the galaxy could not ignore. Finally, after the latest challenge, a pulse of light far brighter than any before swept across the station. The being of light communicated a feeling of approval, a recognition that humanity had met the standards of intelligence, morality, and cooperation. Dr. Carter and her team realized that their species had passed the most important test yet, but they knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had proven it could rise to challenges, think critically, and act with compassion. The galaxy had offered not just communication, but education and evaluation, teaching humanity that intelligence alone was not enough, it was how humans used it that mattered. As Earth's citizens gazed at the night sky, strange auroras danced above their cities, echoing the pulses of the galaxy. Humanity had taken the first steps in becoming part of a larger cosmic society. The tests had been difficult, the tension immense, but the reward was clear: respect, recognition, and the chance to explore and join the community of civilizations. Dr. Carter looked out at the stars, her heart full of pride. "We have been tested, and we have shown who we are," she whispered, "but the galaxy has more to teach us, and we must be ready." The pulses continued, a reminder that humanity's journey among the stars had only just begun. And somewhere, far across the 80,000 light-years, the beings of the galaxy watched patiently, observing, waiting, hopeful that humanity would continue to rise to the challenges ahead. The galactic challenge had begun, and humanity was proving, for the first time, that it belonged among the stars. Humanity's answer. After months of challenges, tests, and pulses from the distant galaxy, humanity had learned, adapted, and grown. The Orion Station team, led by Dr. Lena Carter, prepared for what they knew could be the final step, the last message, the ultimate proof of humanity's intelligence, unity, and spirit. The final challenge was unlike any before. It combined all that they had learned: mathematics, ethics, creativity, and cooperation. Across Earth, billions of humans watched as their species faced the ultimate trial. From school children to world leaders, every person held their breath, wondering if humanity would succeed. The signal arrived, glowing and pulsing with incredible complexity. The patterns were vast, containing sequences of logic, moral dilemmas, and symbols of emotion. Dr. Carter's team worked tirelessly, decoding the message and crafting their response. They had only one chance to show the galaxy who humans truly were. For days, the station was alive with activity, every team member contributing their skills, every voice heard, every idea considered. They debated, tested, and rechecked their solutions, knowing that one mistake could mean failure, yet they also knew that humanity had grown stronger through every challenge, stronger together. Finally, the response was ready, a simple but profound message, combining logic, images of Earth and its diverse life, sounds, music, and a demonstration of human compassion. The message showed not only intelligence, but creativity, cooperation, and empathy, qualities that set humans apart. With a deep breath, Dr. Carter sent the message across the galaxy. The Orion Station hummed as the pulses traveled, merging with the energy waves of the ancient beings. Outside, Earth's night sky shimmered with strange auroras, brighter and more beautiful than ever before. Humanity could feel the connection, the recognition, the approval. Then, a wave of energy swept across the solar system, warm, vibrant, and alive. The beings of light appeared before the station, projecting not just visions but emotions, awe, joy, and respect. Humanity had succeeded, not because of strength or weapons, but because of intelligence, heart, and unity. Dr. Carter and her team stared in wonder, realizing that the galaxy had accepted humanity as a rising civilization. The being of light communicated without words. "You are seen, you are known, you have proven yourselves worthy." For the first time, humans understood that their actions, their choices, had earned them a place among the stars. Across Earth, celebrations erupted, yet there was also quiet reflection. People realized that this was not the end, but the beginning. The galaxy had reached out, offered lessons, and now humanity had responsibilities. To learn, explore, and act wisely. Every human being, from every nation, was now part of a larger story, a cosmic journey that stretched far beyond their world. Dr. Carter addressed her team, her voice calm but filled with emotion. "We have answered the galaxy, and in doing so, we have shown what humanity can be: intelligent, compassionate, creative, united. These are our greatest strengths." She looked out at the stars, understanding that the journey was far from over. The beings of light departed slowly, leaving behind a faint glow that pulsed in rhythm with Earth's own energy, but their presence remained in humanity's hearts, a reminder that the universe was alive, that other civilizations were watching, and that humans had proven they could rise to challenges, face fear, and act with courage. As night fell, Earth's skies were filled with shimmering auroras, dancing to the rhythm of the galaxy. Dr. Carter and her team stood at the observation deck, silently marveling at what they had achieved. For 80,000 years, the signal had waited, forgotten in the distant reaches of space, and now, humanity had answered, boldly, wisely, and with heart. Somewhere, far across the galaxy, civilizations watched and whispered among themselves, humans are rising. They have potential. The galaxy had tested them, and humans had passed, but the journey had just begun. There would be new challenges, new discoveries, and new lessons, yet for the first time, humanity knew it had a place among the stars. The Orion Station team looked to the endless sky, knowing that the galaxy was no longer a distant mystery, but a community waiting for humanity to explore, learn, and grow. Humanity had answered the forgotten signal, and in doing so, had taken its first true step into the larger universe. Brave, hopeful, and united, the species now faced the future with courage. And somewhere, in the far reaches of the 80,000 light-years, the pulse of the galaxy continued, alive, waiting, and now, no longer silent.